Studio. It's hour 3, the afternoon portion of the program. We kick it off with Bo Luckey. He's the chief of the Mississippi Capitol Police. Chief, thanks for coming in. Good to see you, man.
Oh, thank you for having me. I appreciate that.
You bet. So give us an update on the Capitol Police. We were just talking offline. This was a pretty big deal when the legislature expanded, I guess, the jurisdiction there and put a program in place where you guys interface and work hand in hand with other law enforcement agencies to try to improve the safety of the capital city of Jackson.
Absolutely. So originally the first, real steps that it took was taking Capitol Police from under the Department of Finance and Administration and putting them under Department of Public Safety.
Right.
So once they went under Department of Public Safety, they started looking at trying to change Capitol Police into a more of a enforcement element in the city of Jackson and kind of step away from the traditional Capitol Police that was just within the buildings.
Yeah.
And that's where I come into play. May of 2022, I was brought in by Commissioner Sean Tyndall and Governor Reeves, and it's really taken off since then. So whenever I started in May of 22, we had 8 square miles. Now, because of House Bill 1020, we expanded to 20, I believe it was 24 square miles, 25 square miles with House Bill 1020. Mm-hmm. And that was in July of 23. But because of the Supreme Court, all the hold up in the courts about House Bill 1020, we didn't really start enforcing and start patrolling that additional area until around January of 24. Since then, in July of this year, we've expanded again, but a much smaller expansion, only about 3 to 4 square miles. Basically the area east of 55 between Northside Drive and Canton Mart, we've taken that in. Mm-hmm. So what does Capitol Police look like now? We're a lot more like a regular police department. We're a large police department at this point. We're sitting at about 150 officers. We are looking to get to about 180 officers, so we've got about 30 spots open right now, and we are actively trying to hire officers as we speak.
Okay. So, but the City of Jackson Police Department, some of them are assigned as well. Is that right? How's that work, Chief?
So the idea behind Capitol Police expanding was to allow for the City of Jackson to pull the officers that are within the CCID's boundaries and relocate them outside the CCID to be able to use their manpower more efficiently.
I see.
So our primary responsibility is within the CCID, within that 28 square miles. There really is no need for Jackson Police Department to be within that area patrolling and doing normal law enforcement work because we are the primary responding agency. We respond to all the calls for service. Okay. We're the ones out there patrolling that area. However, it doesn't change their jurisdiction and their ability to be in that area. Okay. So they remain in that area. They keep a footprint in that area. They actually assist us on some of our calls in that area. But whenever the calls come in, they forward them to us if we don't get them directly.
Okay. All right. I got it. Makes sense. So what have you seen since this law was passed, the district has expanded, and the scope of your services has increased? Have we seen a decline in crime as a result?
So what we see, you got to be careful when you talk about numbers because we're expanding so much, and we're also just a new police department in the area where we're more proactive than that area has seen in the past. So when you look at the numbers, we're out there, we're working hard. The officers are doing a great job and working hard. Now, when you step outside, when you look around, the people that work and live in the city of Jackson in the CCID, they see the difference. They feel the difference.
I personally have, and I've heard it, and I got to tell you, I just feel safer when I go to the area now because I see the officers, I see the vehicles, and you just feel some sense of protection that
Correct.
I don't think existed before.
And that's our overall mission, is to provide a layer of law enforcement there within the CCID, to where the citizens that live in the CCID, visit the CCID, work in the CCID, to where they feel safe.
Yeah.
We want to be able to bring people back to the city of Jackson, bring economic growth back to the city of Jackson. That's what it's all about.
And you can't have a thriving economy, as you well know, and unless you have safe streets. It's not possible.
Yes,
They're
sir.
not coming. Nobody's going to live there. They're not going to make any investments and launch businesses or expand businesses unless they can have some confidence that their assets and their lives are going to be protected. And that's what you guys do.
That's absolutely right, and that's what we strive to do every day.
That's awesome. Well, I appreciate it, and I can tell you that it doesn't go unnoticed, because I talk to other people that travel into the area as I do on a regular basis, and everybody just feels better about the visibility. And Chief, correct me if I'm wrong, but as a deterrent to crime, visibility of law enforcement's a big deal, is it not?
That is. I mean, that's your number one, your first layer of deterrent, is being visible, being present.
Sure.
So absolutely, and that's really what we want to do. What we realized in the very beginning is, in the city of Jackson especially, just being able to ride through an area and then say, okay, well, that we've been seen in that area, it's done now, we can move on to the next area. No, you can't really do that here. You gotta stay in that area. We have a lot of people, or I say a lot of people, we have the criminal element in the city of Jackson. They're looking for opportunities to do something wrong.
Indeed.
And it can happen very quickly.
Indeed. So you and I will be attending an event this coming Thursday. I think it may be the 45th event. It's called the Squat and Gobble. It's a local event, and all proceeds raised in the event are used to combat domestic violence and human trafficking, and to help some of the victims of that as well. Our friend Tommy Turk, that is really the creator of this and is super passionate about it. But you and I are going to be having a little conversation, I think, on stage along with Miss Mississippi. This is a great event. What I want to ask you about is, how much of this do you see in the district there, in the central Mississippi and the state overall, human trafficking and domestic violence?
So when it comes to domestic violence, law enforcement, we experience that on a daily basis almost. I was just looking at some numbers the other day for Capitol Police, just in the CCID. And again, one of the things you look at with domestic violence is how unreported it goes as well. So it's something that, even to be as unreported as it is, it's in our top 15 of most visited incidents with Capitol Police. And I'm sure it's that way across the state and probably across the nation. Unfortunately, a domestic violence situation is something that you're likely going to go to as a law enforcement officer, and it's also one of the most volatile situations you can go to.
Yeah.
You got to think about the fact of, you got two people together that are having a rough time, and it can go either way when the officer gets there.
Yeah.
Now, as far as the human trafficking, that's something that, on the flip side, is not really enforced as much as it should be. And that's one thing that at the Attorney General's office, myself and Nick Brown, who's now a lieutenant with me now, we traveled the state of Mississippi teaching officers how to deal with human trafficking and how to work human trafficking cases. And that's actually where I met Sandy Middleton and Christina and all them, was working on these operations for human trafficking. I
got you. It's one of those things that the average citizen doesn't really encounter. They don't see it. It's not visible. They know about it. They hear about it. We talk about it here a lot, and lots of other folks across the state. But it's probably more prevalent than we are aware of. Is that fair to say, you think?
That is fair to say. So it's one of those things where you're right. The average citizen doesn't really see it, doesn't really realize it's happening. And the average law enforcement officer looks at it as just another problem with commercial sex or prostitution. And that's one of the things that's difficult about working those cases, is you have to really get into that commercial sex industry to work human trafficking effectively. Okay. Because a lot of your victims in human trafficking are in that world, in that realm.
I got you.
And of course, a lot of our general public doesn't see that world. And then, like I said, the law enforcement officers, they're accustomed to working that world a different way than seeing these victims as actual victims.
Okay. But they are trained, I assume, to deal with these. You're right. I see too many reports across the country of a domestic violence situation. Law enforcement officer goes into it, gets in the middle of it, and does their best to make sure they're covered and they're safe. But something happens to the law enforcement officer a lot.
Well, it happens. Unfortunately, it does happen. And as far as training, there's a lot of agencies out there, a lot of organizations out there that provide domestic violence training.
Okay.
And we try to take advantage of it. The Mississippi Attorney General's office, they've been a big champion of domestic violence training over the years. Department of Public Safety out at Malota, they offer classes all the time.
Gotcha.
So it's something that we're very heavily trained on. But you're right, it can go bad at any moment. It's just, like I said, it's a situation that's very volatile.
Chief of the Mississippi Capitol Police, Bo Luckey, has been our guest. Thanks for coming in, Chief. Appreciate it, man.
Thank you so much for having me.
We're coming right back in the Element Wealth Studio.